we've only had about a week and a half off. You've already done a tournament in Bangladesh. England have got this T20 series and ODI series in Sri Lanka. Then it's the T20 World Cup. Then it's the IPL. Then it's England's home summer. There's a Women's T20 World Cup in England. There's test matches against New Zealand. There's test matches against Pakistan. Then we're off to South Africa. So there's no rest, but a very familiar looking lineup for England in this ODI. We haven't had confirmation of the teams. We got something through yesterday, but we're expecting it to look very similar to what we saw in Australia, 5 of the same top 6. The big question is about Bazball, really, isn't it? You know, is it now Bazball Mark 3, 4, 5? Are we going to see any change? Is Baz for changing? Are the teams still behind Baz? Is Bazball dead? Well, and good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. The strange thing, when I saw the team that they've selected for this first ODI, it looked more like a test lineup than a one-day lineup, except for one omission, the lack of serious fast bowlers. We got Overton and Curran in the side. You would say basically, but Curran is a kind of, he's turned himself into a one-day specialist, and same with Overton. So I'm looking forward to the game. It'll be interesting how they play. I don't think it will be any different whatsoever. You only have to look at some of the press conferences before. Harry Brook said, this is the way I'm going to play. And we expected to play like that in white ball cricket. So I've no issue with it. The thing is, for me, we've got 3 ODIs here, which are strange timing in this strange cricket calendar, what we've got coming up over the next 12 months around the world, is 3 ODIs before the T20 World Cup. But the team we've got, the batting lineup, I think, is more like a test lineup, and it looks pretty strong. So if we don't get runs with that lineup, we're never going to get any.
How many times have you had, or when you were a player, when a series has gone wrong? Okay, it's gone badly wrong. Not just Ashes. Okay?
Every year.
Well, we did win a few along the way. But when a coach comes under pressure, you know, when it does go wrong, do you have much experience of seeing a coach change his ways, change the way he goes about things, realising that maybe that mistakes have been made and that to change course, he has to change course? Did that ever happen?
I've seen coaches buckle under pressure. And the biggest, on 2 occasions, let me go all the way to 2 occasions. The first one was when Ray Illingworth and Lever and Edrich came in as a coaching. I mean, it was the strangest moment of my life when they came in to the cricketing world. We went to South Africa. We lost 6-1 in a one-day series. And it was just before the World Cup in India and Pakistan, if you remember. And we went there. And the game plan we'd had for those 6 one-days, obviously we lost, got battered by a very, very good South African side in their own conditions. And we changed the total order and the way we were going to play. And they weren't really coaches, were they, those 3, if I'm going to be honest. They had been out of the game probably too long, and they came in to try and turn around England's fortunes, and it was a bad appointment at the time. So we never recovered from it, really, and we got to the quarter-final of that World Cup. We lost to Sri Lanka, who went on to win it. The second one was Bumble, who, after Zimbabwe, when he came out and murdered them, and he literally did buckle, and he lost the plot, and he went in from being a kind of motivator to on edge, emotional, up and down, and we basically ran the team on our own without him. That's basically what happened with that. So on 2 occasions, that's the only 2 times where really I saw a huge change from one tour to another. So South Africa to the World Cup in '96, and then the following year when Bumble was in charge from Zimbabwe to New Zealand, where there was a big change on how we were going to play. But it was really down to the players rather than the coach's ideas, if you know where I'm coming from.
So how does it work here? It's a different world, but it's the same world. You know, McCullum was brought in to change the fortunes of the England team, wasn't he? Seems like we're kind of reliving the past, but it is very much the present. Is McCullum for changing?
Well, we know he's not for change. He said he's not going to change.
I mean,
he said he'll listen. He said he'll listen, but we know. But look, Brendan McCullum is a good guy. I'm not here to bag him as a person. We know the way he plays. But if we look at his career in a whole, it was kind of steady-weddy, wasn't it? Until he had a golden run towards the end of his career and finished it in style with that 100, if you remember, in a test match where he smashed it all over, and then his IPL years. But you've got to remember Brendan before that, where it failed so many times. We're looking at the Brendan that lit up the IPL or his last test match where he was outstanding. Sometimes it takes time to work, and you have to have the natural talent to be able to play that way. When I look at the players we've got in this side, let's be honest, the only one with natural talent that could probably play the way he wants them to play is Harry Brook. And he's the one who's really lit up in the Bazball. What I mean by lit up, he's the one who really wants to play that way. The rest of them try to play that way, and they're not good enough to play that way. You've got to be a serious talent to be able to do that. KP came in, Kevin Peterson came in when he came into the England side and changed the way England played and had done Test cricket for, 50, 60 years. He came in and decided, no, this is the way I'm going to play it. And so many players followed him, right? But he was the first player to play that way, and he came in. So since then now, we're in a position where this is the way we're going to play. We're going to accept it. What have we lost? 11 out of the last 15 ODIs?
Yeah,
something
it's 11
like
out of 15, yeah.
Yeah, so if we lose these three, I don't think we're still in any danger, immediate danger of getting into having to go to the playoffs. But with 3 defeats, it puts us on the brink of it. So this is a big series. Although it's come at a bad time, 350 over games is a massive 350 over games for this England team. And Sri Lanka, by the way.
And for Harry Brook. Let's hear from Harry Brook. He's been speaking about his coach, Brendan McCullum, and chatting with talkSPORT's reporter Scott Taylor.
He's the best head coach I've had by a million miles. He makes you feel like you can go out there and do anything. He gives you the freedom to do anything. As a middle order batter as well, if you're 3 down early, like we saw in Melbourne, I know I only got 40 runs, but on another day, if I nick off early there, we could have been bowled out for 50. So it's about being brave. It's about trying to negate the risks that you have and put the percentages in your favour. And yeah, as a player, I feel like I've excelled in that, and people might say that I haven't, but yeah, I feel like I'm taking risks that are more in my percentage of success than the bowlers. So bar a couple of shots here or there, but that's part of learning, and that's part of cricket. And I always, like I said, I want to put pressure on the bowler and try and make them feel uncomfortable.
Tell you what made you feel uncomfortable as a bowler, I imagine, Goughy, bowling a 4th spell. It's not just about that shot, is it? It's not just about one shot putting pressure. It's about putting pressure and making a bowler have to bowl a lot more overs than he wants to.
That was the strangest interview I think I've ever heard. I didn't understand a word of it until the last line, putting pressure on the opposition's bowlers. Get that? 100%. The rest of that rubbish about percentages and diddly-diddly and diddly-dee, most people listening to that would say, what does that actually mean?
Well, it didn't sound like Harry Brook.
It didn't. That's what I'm saying. They've absolutely been bamboozled by this chat, and it's about percentages and going in there and in Melbourne and having the confidence to go out and play. As a coach, and I've been a coach myself and I know what it's like, you've always got to give your players confidence to go and play their natural game. Their natural game, right? Yes, at certain times of certain games, you've got to take the initiative. It's knowing when you have to take that initiative. So if you're in a game where you're against it, you've got 2 ways. You can either dig in and fight out of that hole and get them into their 3rd and 4th spells that no bowler likes doing, or you can risk it for a biscuit and try and turn the momentum. And it's a big coaching term. Change the momentum of the game. I do like that. I do like it in certain situations. In a one-day game, you'd have to change the momentum. In a test match, you're taking a big risk. The biggest risk possible in a 5-day game, you're finishing a game in 2.5 days by taking that risk. And I don't think it's worth doing, especially on the wickets we played in Australia. They suited the bowlers. They weren't flat. You couldn't go out there and play a shot of ball unless you're Viv Richards, you know. You couldn't do it, and it got proven. Both teams got bowled out, basically, time and time again. Australia was slightly better than us with a bat, and that's down to, really, Travis Head scoring the amount of runs he did.